everybody, welcome back to the Flannel Channel. And you know that I find some of the coolest people with some of the coolest trucks, and I'm hanging out at the Big Iron Classic 2022 with Starship Transport.
Yep,
which, you know what, I love seeing this truck because I've seen it before, but there's something about a guy that's had a truck from the very beginning, owned it since new, and a unique paint scheme like this. I just need to let you loose. So go ahead, introduce yourself, and then let's just jump right in, because you and I were talking a minute ago.
Yes, we were.
And I was like, we need to record this. This is really cool.
Well, my name's Brian. Most truckers know me as Foxfire.
There you go.
And I bought this Patriot in 1976. The only truck I've ever owned. Over 4.5 million miles on her. And I really enjoy it. It's a love-hate relationship.
So you two go a long ways back, but is this the original engine? It can't be.
No, I'm on my fourth block.
Fourth and block.
Yeah, fourth block.
Wow.
Yep.
Now, you were pointing out specifically some of the things that you've done or changed over the years. It's almost like you're experimenting as you go with your air, with your turbo, with your fuel, things like that.
Yep.
So talk a little bit about that as well, because that's fascinating to me. You were pointing out some of what you've done here under the hood.
This is a manifold that was built by a company in California back in the early 80s, and a component that was inside the manifold would fail, which basically broke it. But I put it on a Bridgeport, opened it up, eliminated the inserts that were inside the exhaust ports. It breathes a little easier. We made the crossover tube up on the top to flow the air in a better direction.
And now that's still considered hot air, though, is that right?
Well,
it doesn't go through an intercooler?
No, well, it goes through a watered intercooler.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, it's not an aired air.
Okay.
So, my problem with trying to go beyond where I am is the fact that Cummins, in their infamous wisdom, used a reverse rotation turbo.
Right.
And there are not many of them on the market for me to play bigger than where I'm at.
Sure. Sure. Yep.
And then, go ahead.
Oh, what I was going to ask you, you mentioned that you may go to a different style of turbo where it's duals, it's turbo like one spins one direction and the other turbo
Actually, it'd be a single.
Oh, what? Okay, I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Nope,
okay.
It'd be a single. Nelson Racing Engines is the guy that I contacted, and he sells what he calls mirrored turbos, which is where you might have been confused.
Okay.
Because I'm only going to purchase, if I do, one of the turbos out of his mirrored set.
I see. Okay. Yep, that makes sense.
It gives me the reverse rotation that I'm looking for to be able to change air.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's what that would be.
Yep.
And then go ahead.
Yeah. Well, so you've changed a little bit about how the air is coming in and out of the engine, but you've obviously messed around with shimming the buttons and things like that on your fuel pump and things like that. You've got it dialed right where you want it.
I don't use shims.
Oh, okay.
Cummins only used shims to be able to achieve what they called the saleable horsepower. So if it's a big cam 3 at 400 horse, if it went on their engine dyno and didn't make 400 horse, they would add shims to increase fuel pressure until they achieved 400. That's all the shims do.
Interesting.
If you have the right torque spring, governor torque spring, that you can eliminate almost all of the shims, and away you go.
Gotcha.
And I have a custom spring. It's not Cummins.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Now, can you walk us around the other side? You were showing me something you did on the on the compressor also. I thought that was pretty cool.
So one of the things I noticed with the Cummins is constantly the unloader valve on the air compressor would get gummed up, stuck, and it would cycle on and off, on and off. Well, I unplugged from the aftercooler and just went direct with a small mini filter. Cummins also did that themselves.
Really?
But not in a lot of applications. It used to be a little filter that would sit right here, paper element, you could change it. And ever since I did that, I went from constantly replacing it, like say every month and a half, to at least 6 months now without having to mess with it. So that's just one little thing. Trying to play with it and make it better.
Yeah. That's awesome. Now, this is the original paint that the truck has had?
From the other than the roof cap.
Okay.
The roof cap got in bad shape.
Okay.
So I don't even remember, it was probably 2001 or 2 we replaced it. And it actually, in my opinion, looks worse now than what the original paint job did.
Wow.
When I bought the truck, I was only 25 years old. And I washed it for the first time at my mom and dad's house with a garden hose. And the paint on the frame fell off.
Are you serious?
Serious. So I called Peterbilt that following Monday morning and explained to them, we got a paint problem. And they said, well, what? You were too close with the pressure washer. I said, my thumb over the garden hose. And, well, it's just a frame. We're not going to do anything. And
really?
I was crushed. I decided right then and there, this was my truck. I'm done buying them.
Wow. Oh man. So you've done some custom touches, like your cylinder heads are the red, white, and blue, and your frame is blue. So you've definitely personalized it over the years, your lights and things like that.
Yes.
What else have you done over the years to make it your own?
I put 5 feet of frame rail in it.
Okay.
It was a 206 wheelbase when I bought it, and just too rough. So I put 5 feet of frame in it. Basically, the interior. Step this way, Phil.
You bet.
Basically, the interior is still stock, other than the floor and the seats were changed, but everything else is OEM.
Wow. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
And it started life so beautiful anyway. Why change it?
Why change it?
Yeah.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Man. Great job.
Thank you. And as I said earlier, it's a love-hate relationship. One day you love her, the next day you hate her.
When you've been together this long.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. There's no divorce,
That's right. That's right. Have you done anything with your transmission or your rear diffs or anything?
No.
That's all
The transmission was turned around into a double overdrive.
Okay.
It has 411 rear ends.
Okay.
11/24/5 tall rubber.
Sure.
It used to be geared at like 75 miles an hour. And once we flip the gears in the transmission, I don't know how fast it'll go. The windows won't stay in the front. So, power divider was rebuilt once. Transmission was rebuilt once. Back rear end has never been touched.
Okay.
It's only ever had one set of new wheel bearings put in it and 4.5 million miles.
Yeah.
I was reluctant to do it when I did it, but we had it all pulled apart.
Sure.
And I was afraid that though I won't probably live long enough to wear these out, they'll never live as long as the OEM ones did.
Right.
Yeah. Things just aren't as good anymore. It's a fact.
That's true. Yeah.
It's a fact.
Yep.
It's a shame, but it's a fact.
It is.
Yeah.
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 And in 1976, obviously this paint scheme itself was an option. That was something, with the patriotic.
Yep.
It was the Bicentennial.
Yep, Bicentennial.
In 76.
So, Peterbilt, the history supposedly goes, they built 100 conventionals and 100 cabovers to signify the 200th birthday of the United States.
Right.
There's a plaque with a Patriot Minuteman pewter plaque on the dashboard.
Oh, cool.
The serial numbers are only 5 digits. People freak out when you go to the parts, the Peterbilt parts. Give me your VIN number, and you only give them 5 digits. No, I need the whole thing. No, you don't. That's it.
That's it.
So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
And there's not many of these really left around. I know of maybe 4 or 5 cabovers and 4 or 5 of the conventionals out of 100 each. So
wow.
yeah.
Boy.
But it's a piece of history, a nice piece.
It is. And it's a tool that you've used to earn a living with over the years.
Yep.
And well, what have you pulled since 1976? What kind of trailers, what kind of work have you done with it?
I pulled a dump for about 6 months, pulled a tanker for quite a while, pulled a van and a reefer, short period, but mostly step deck, and I haul nursery stock for all my own customers.
Gotcha.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
What do you like hauling the most? Well, if you could go back.
Tanker is my thing.
Tanker's your thing.
I
okay.
really, really, really like tanks.
That's cool.
But it's, I don't want to offend anybody, but it's kind of a lazy man's job, because all you do is hook up a hose and you're done.
Just wait.
Yeah.
Yep. Sure. Nothing wrong with that.
No, no, not at all.
Did you have hazmat when you were doing tankers?
Back then there really was no hazmat. See.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because this was back in the late 70s, so there was no hazmat.
Gotcha.
Yep. And as a go-getter, if you will, I used to haul fertilizer up to Upper Michigan.
Okay.
for the farmers, and then I'd go over to Ludington or Midland and load it Dow Chemical with calcium chloride, take it back over to Southern Illinois. They'd spray gravel roads with it for dust control.
Right, okay.
Go back up to Chicago, load fertilizer up to, and I was actually loaded both directions with a tank.
Hey.
And sometimes that's not easy.
No, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But you're making pretty good money that way.
I was making good money.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the time I was making good money.
That's awesome.
Had my own trailer.
Sure.
It was a real weird one, but I had one.
Hey.
Yep. Yep.
Wow, that is cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to point out or show us?
I think we kind of just nailed it, Philip.
We covered it.
Yep.
That's awesome.
We could go on and on and on for days, because every time somebody stops over and starts asking questions, we wind up all the way around the thing.
Yeah. Well, that's part of
We
what
highlighted it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's part of what makes truck shows fun.
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
not just about the machines. It's
No.
about relationships and getting to know people better and telling stories.
Camaraderie, the whole
Absolutely.
9 yards.
Yeah.
You better believe it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've watched everything you do on your YouTube channel and on Instagram, and here we are.
Here we are.
Here
Yep.
we are. Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Yep.
Well, thank you for taking the time to show us around a little bit.
You're
You got a
welcome.
really,
Thank
really
you.
cool truck, and I
Thank you very
appreciate
much.
your friendship and your input.
You got it.
All
My
right,
pleasure.
bud. All
Thank
right.
you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, buddy.